Good morning, church. Pastor Ben here again with your morning Devo. Thank you so much for spending some time with us. A few weeks ago, I talked to you a little bit about Gibbs's rules. And I said at the time that I had some of my own rules that I had developed for life, just general rules for life. And one of my lists I call the ABCs of leadership. And so I'd like to spend a few Devos kind of talking about that list. And the very first one is A, assertive, not aggressive. Have you ever seen that person who just seems like they just blow up out of nowhere? You see this a lot with fathers, dads, where they let things go, and then all of a sudden explode with anger. And a lot of times you think, when you watch that, you think to yourself, if that guy had just dealt with this situation a lot sooner, he would have not had to blow up and had a big fight with the family. You see this with bosses sometimes. They let things go, and then finally things boil over and they erupt. And if they had just taken care of the situation sooner, they wouldn't have had to do that. They wouldn't have had to use aggression to accomplish the task or to correct the situation. They could have instead used assertiveness. And this is what I mean by being assertive instead of aggressive. That it's important to, when you ask about something, to ask specifically what you want and say when you want it, especially with a child or a subordinate or even a spouse, to say, hey, I'd like to have this done by this date. I'd like to have this done by this day. That's assertive. Part of what we're doing there is we're afraid people are going to say no. So what we tend to do is we try to manipulate people to do what we want instead of just plain and simply asking them. Or we drop hints. We're not completely open about what we want. We're hoping they get the idea instead of just saying, hey, I need you to do the dishes. I need you to finish that report. I need you to run these parts, whatever that is. A few days ago, Pastor Chris talked about anger. And he read from the book of Ephesians, but I want to back up just a little bit right before that verse and read you something that Paul says in this regard. He says, therefore, each of you must put off falsehood and speak truthfully to your neighbor, for we are all members of one body. In your anger, do not sin. Do not let the sun go down while you are still angry. So isn't that interesting? It's interesting that he is tying these two things together. He's saying that if you will speak truthfully to your neighbor, then that will help you to not allow your anger to go down, to not allow the sun to go down in your anger. And isn't that exactly what we're talking about? We're talking about being assertive rather than being aggressive. And so in a business context in particular, but anybody who's a leader, this is a very key item to always remember, is that it's important to be assertive without aggression. Be assertive, not aggressive. Say what you want. Be truthful. Speak plainly. Mean what you say what you mean. And so there's no opportunity for people to misunderstand. And then your feelings don't get hurt, their feelings don't get hurt, and you don't have to have a big fight. And we could avoid a lot of trouble, both in business and in our families and in our personal relationships, if we'll just be truthful. Say what you want when you want it. One of the things that I always try to do, and I don't do it very well, is if someone says they're going to do something, they're going to sign that paper or present that report or reply to my email, I always try to follow up with a when. When can I expect that? I'm not going to be aggressive with you. I'm not going to get angry at you. I'm just going to plain and simply ask you, when are you going to have this done? So I know I can follow up on it without having to be upset that you told me you would do something and then I wait a few days and it doesn't get done. As a buyer, I deal with this with suppliers all the time. I know they're busy. I know they're just not sitting around their hands looking for something to do, waiting for me to give them a call and ask them for something. So when they say they're going to do something, I always try to remember to be assertive. Say exactly what I want, when I want it, or at least give them the opportunity to say back to me when they'll have it done. And that avoids a lot of problems, and it also avoids people getting upset. So that's what I want to leave you with today. Pray to God today that He will show you ways and help you to be assertive without being aggressive. Thank you so much for your time. God bless you, and keep being the church.